Okay, we had, this was a question done, I think, in 2012, 2013, and at the time, it was before we had the option to use OpenPath shapes, so my printable tutorial is a little bit outdated, so I thought I would just show you the easier way to do this. This is the picture that, or the effect that we want, and that is that these letters here would pop out of the center of the ribbon and just stand up on their own. So we're using Make to Cut for this, and it's a very simple process. So what I'll do is go to another screen to show you how I did this. I'm going to click on Basic Shapes and double click on the square, and then you can make the ribbon as tall and long and wide as you would like. I'll change this, I'll send it to its own layer and change a color so you can see. So this yellow represents my ribbon. The next thing I want to do, I click away so it's not selected, and I'm going to click on Text and Fonts, and I'll select the impact font, and I'm going to use capital letters. So click on the T, and I just typed in happy. It doesn't, normally I keep mine on split by glyphs, but in this case it doesn't really matter. Once I typed in the text, I click on Accept, and I'll select both of these and just type S to stack in the center. Now I could cut it out here, but if I want the letters to pop up as they do here about the center of the ribbon, I want to maybe make these letters a little shorter so that the bottom of the letters lines up pretty near the center, as demonstrated by that plus sign in the middle. I'll stack it again so you can see. And you can move it up with the arrows on the keyboard, and I'll just take this. I can make the letters as tall as almost where the ribbon is, but I need to leave a little room for cutting it out of the paper here. So once you have it positioned, then there's this figure 8 in the corner. If you click on the figure 8, it opens up this toolbar on the left side. And I'm going to use this arrow key. Now if you don't see that toolbar, you could just type F2 and it will automatically select that arrow key. That's F2. There's F1, F2, F3, F4, and so on all the way down. Once you have this second arrow chosen, you see that the cursor changes, looks like a spaceship. But what I'm going to do is left click at the bottom of this letter to select it, and you can tell it's selected by it turns green, and I'm going to click on the delete key and it's gone. Left click and it's gone. I'm going to go to the bottom of each letter and just select the bottom, and this will work on any font that has a straight bottom. And all I'm doing is getting rid of the bottom, and now when this is cut, it will cut on all the lines, but this part will not be cut, and you can just bend it forward. Now if you would like to have score lines there, you can add a new layer by clicking on the larger green plus icon in the lower right corner, and you can click on either the pencil or the pen, and you can draw in points, but you want to lock in the text here so that you're not connecting to the other lines that are there. You could simply just left click there and right click on the end, and then we can send that to its own layer and click on line style and create a new line style to make these dashes. Now if you don't want the dashes to go across the unused space and you just want the dashes at the bottom of each, you can, I just undo, and you can just left click and right click. I'm using the pen, Bezier Draw, but you could use the pencil just as well. It's better to use snapping, and I'll do that just so you can see. You go to Virtual Mat and snapping, and maybe snap to 1/8 of an inch. I'm not really lined up here on any one of these places. Oh, I locked it. So probably what I'll just keep snapping on at 1/8 of an inch and see what happens. But left click where you want the line to start and right click, and you see it's too high there. That's because of the snapping. So I'll take the snapping off, or maybe down to 1/32 of an inch. Left click, right click, left click, right click, left click. And I'm so unsteady. Left click, right click, but I've used a trackball and it's really sensitive. Left click, right click, or you could use the pencil tool and just left click and drag. But this way now I have all of the score lines. I'll just select them and I could join them and then change them into dashed lines. Adjust the spacing if you want. And now we have fold lines right at the bottom, so they'll be a little easier to pop up. But you will fold these up. These don't have any way of holding themselves up. You notice in the example here that the paper was just folded forward. And they did the same with birthday and the same with dad here, and just glued it on to the gift here.